Welcome back to another night of eerie tales and happy Halloween. Tonight's first story comes from a Reddit user who claims something strange happened during a road trip across the American Midwest. I was driving from Chicago to Denver, taking the long way, trying to clear my head after a breakup. It was late, past midnight, when I missed my exit. The GPS froze for a moment, then rerouted me down a narrow county road I didn't recognize. After 20 minutes of total darkness, headlights caught a small, flickering neon sign. Bluebird Motel. Vacancy. It looked old, from the 60s maybe. A single-story strip of rooms under a buzzing light. There was a payphone out front and an empty parking lot except for one dusty pickup truck. I should have kept driving. But the thought of sleeping in my car another night made me pull in. The front desk bell didn't ring when I pressed it. After a minute, a woman appeared, pale, polite, and quiet. She wore a faded blue uniform with a small name tag that read Evelyn. She didn't ask for ID or payment, just handed me an actual metal key. Room 7, she said. Breakfast is at 6, if you're still here. Then she smiled just a little too long. Inside, the room smelled like dust and old carpet. The walls had wood paneling, the kind motels stopped using decades ago. On the nightstand sat a rotary phone. No TV, no Wi-Fi, no signal on my phone either. Still, I was exhausted. I locked the door, turned out the light, and fell asleep to the hum of the motel sign outside. I woke up at exactly 3:12 a.m. to a soft knock on the door. 3 knocks. Pause. 3 more. Hello? I called out. Silence. Then the phone on the nightstand rang. I picked it up. Static. Then, faintly, a woman's voice whispered, "You shouldn't have stopped." My stomach dropped. I hung up, grabbed my keys, and peeked through the curtains. The parking lot was empty. Even the old pickup was gone. I decided to leave. But when I opened the door, the corridor outside looked different. The neon light wasn't buzzing anymore. The sign was dark. And where the office should have been, just empty woods. I sprinted to my car, started the engine, and drove toward the highway. But after 10 minutes of driving, the same flickering Bluebird Motel sign appeared again. I swore, turned around, drove the other direction. 15 minutes later, the same sign, same turnoff. The third time I passed it, I saw Evelyn standing by the road holding the motel key. Her eyes reflected red in my headlights. She mouthed something I couldn't hear, then smiled. When morning came, I finally found a gas station. The clerk said there's never been a Bluebird Motel anywhere near that area. He even showed me the map. Nothing but fields. I laughed it off until I opened my glove compartment. Inside was the motel key, room 7, still cold to the touch. That was the motel that doesn't exist on any map. If you ever find yourself driving alone at night and see a neon sign flickering in the dark, maybe keep driving. Up next, a story that takes us inside the quiet dread of home. The girl under my bed keeps asking for my name. I thought moving into my own apartment would be freeing. No roommates, no parents, just me, my boxes, and the blank walls of Unit 3B. The first night was normal, until I went to bed. I had a cheap bed frame with space underneath, and that's when I heard it. A quiet, soft whisper. "Are you awake?" I froze. I told myself it was the building settling, or maybe my imagination, but I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, the whisper returned. "Please say my name." The next evening, I tried ignoring it. I put a blanket over my head, pretending I couldn't hear. Then came the giggle, high-pitched, innocent. but wrong. It wasn't a child I recognized. And the whisper repeated, "Do you know my name?" I swung my legs off the bed, looking underneath. Nothing. Just darkness. But I started noticing strange things. My shoes moved slightly from where I left them. Boxes shifted overnight. And every morning a small footprint in the dust. Too small to be mine. I finally called the neighbor from the apartment above. "Do you ever hear kids at night?" I asked. They laughed. "No kids live here." I checked the building records. Unit 3B had been empty for 6 months before I moved in. I was alone. One night, I couldn't ignore it anymore. The whispering grew louder, desperate. "My name. Say my name." I leaned over the side of the bed and saw her. A girl, pale and small, crouched under the bed. Her hair hung in front of her face. Her lips barely moved. I stumbled backward. She whispered again, "What's my name?" And then she crawled closer, slowly, inch by inch. I ran to the door. The handle was frozen in place like it refused to turn. I turned back. She was at the edge of the bed, staring at me. I screamed. The next morning, everything seemed normal. No footprints, no dust, no evidence of her at all. But sometimes when I wake in the night, I hear a whisper, soft and patient. "Do you know my name yet?" Our final story tonight comes from a Reddit user who visited a town tucked far away from any map. A town so isolated, it seemed the sun itself had forgotten it. I was driving late, looking for a shortcut on a road trip through rural New England. A heavy fog rolled in, thick and choking, swallowing the taillights of my car. Then I saw the sign. "Welcome to Dusk Hollow." The name should have been charming, quaint, but something felt off. The fog wasn't natural. The air was still, too still. When I entered the town, I noticed no one was on the streets. Windows were dark, doors locked, no lights. It was mid-afternoon. I parked near what looked like a diner and knocked on the door. No answer. A shadow moved inside. I tried calling out. Nothing. Then I saw a figure, an old man on the porch across the street. I waved. He didn't wave back. He just stared. Finally, he muttered, "You shouldn't be here. The sun doesn't shine for us anymore." I laughed nervously. What did he mean? As I walked down Main Street, the sky seemed to fade. The sun, hanging low, dimmed as if swallowed by the fog itself. Buildings became silhouettes. The air grew colder. I started noticing strange symbols scratched on walls, doors, and lampposts. Circular shapes like eyes, watching. Then I heard laughter. Children laughing somewhere, though the streets were empty. It echoed from the shadows, too far away to pinpoint. I tried to leave. The fog thickened. The road I had taken in seemed to twist, curving back into the town no matter which direction I drove. I finally stopped at a small church. The door creaked open. Inside, dozens of townsfolk sat, staring at the dark ceiling. They didn't move, didn't speak. Then one of them whispered, "The sun won't rise again. Not for us, not for you. If you stay." Panic rose in my chest. I ran back to the car. The engine wouldn't start at first, then roared to life, and I tore down the foggy streets. I didn't look back. Hours later, the fog cleared. I was on the highway, the sun shining normally. When I told friends about Dusk Hollow, they laughed. "There's no such town," they said, "but I know what I saw. And sometimes, at dusk, when I drive alone, I swear the fog rolls in and the shadows follow. I'll never forget the way the sun refused to shine that day." That was The Town That Forgot the Sun, our final story for tonight. Which tale haunted you the most? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories from the darker corners of the internet. And from all of us here, happy Halloween. Keep the lights low and the volume high.